So I saw Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. That's a movie that's been getting critical praise all over the place. It's a movie that has been taking the critics by storm. The audiences seem to like it. Super imaginative movie about the multiverse. It's not a comic book. And it stars Michelle Yeoh as a woman who owns a laundromat, a struggling laundromat. She is in a marriage that's failing. She has a daughter that she's kind of disconnected with. She doesn't. She doesn't want to disappoint her ailing father. She's ashamed of her daughter dating a woman, and she doesn't want to tell her father. She accepts the fact that her daughter has a girlfriend, but she doesn't want to tell her father. And so she ends up finding out that a different multiverse version of her husband has tapped into the brain of her husband to tell her about the multiverse and about what's going on. And this movie right here is crazy. It's super, like, it's hard for me. It was hard to follow. It was hard to follow. I respect the integrity of it and an imaginative story and something original and fresh, but I was struggling to keep up, to be honest with you. I was like, man, what has happened here? What's going on here? So I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to because the storyline, one falls get up to go to the bathroom, one falls if you drop your popcorn bag, pick it up and then come back up, you done missed something. So but it was not boring. It was dope visually. The cast did an incredible job. Michelle Yeoh was great in the lead. It had what was his name? Indiana Jones. Short Round.
Oh yeah.
Short Round from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. He was also in the Goonies. Remember that kid? He's in this.
Man.
He is in this movie. Sabrina was like, yo, isn't that Short Round from Indiana Jones? And then what was his name in the Goonies?
Data.
Data. Isn't that him? I was like, yo, it looks like him. And it sounded like him. And yo, it was good to see him again. It was good to see him again. And I was like, yo, I just knew that kid was going to be a star. I was just like, yo, because I still have not seen the Goonies all the way through, but I've seen the Temple of Doom several times. And I'm just like, yo, it's good to see this kid again. But this movie was hard for me to keep up with, being honest. But from what I could understand and what I could gather up, it was a fun ride. It was just like, I was like, wow, this movie is crazy. You got different versions of herself that she can kind of tap into and then kind of not. And there was this premise of this girl that was her daughter, Joy, but not her daughter, but was her daughter. And she's like taking out these different alternate universe versions of herself, of her mom. And so the movie is essentially about really just letting go, like, letting go, trying to control everything. And like just letting things be as they are. And the reason why the main version of Michelle Yeoh's character, the reason why this version was able to keep up with and survive was because she failed at so many other things in her life that she was just able to thrive and not get murdered off in this reality. And to be able to even tap into the other versions of herself, since she failed at everything else, she was able to tap into these different versions of herself and use it in the reality that she was in. And essentially it's a story about accepting things and just like, when you try to control everything too tightly, you end up failing on so many different levels rather than just going with the flow. And I think that was the message of the movie. I don't know for sure.
I feel like there were so many.
Yeah, it was like different messages. Sabrina was out.
Oh man, the second I was lost, I was like, let me take a nap.
She was out of here. And normally I fall asleep, and I fell asleep a little bit on this. I dozed off for a minute or two. But then I was back. And normally I'm out a little bit longer than that. But this movie, I want to see it again. Like, I want to watch it again to fully grasp what it was about. Like, it's definitely a film I respect. I respect the production value of it. And, like, I just respected, I was like, man, how hard was this to shoot? And they were filming this during the pandemic. So it was just like, man, like, so I respect the production value, the performances, the imaginative visuals. It was just, and the bagel. I was like, what does this bagel represent? And it was just like, it's a lot. So I definitely, this is definitely a movie you have to visit more than one time. Some people loved it right off the rip. I don't love it because I feel like I didn't really understand everything. So I want to revisit it and pick up things I may have missed. And so, but forget all that. Y'all want to know the smooth jazz review of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Well, here it is. Oh, yeah. I'm giving everything, anything, anytime, everything, everywhere, all at once. Right off the rip, because I truly don't understand it. I'm giving it 3.5 saxophones out of 5. Strong 3.5 with the potential to grow. I have to revisit this movie just to make sure I can fully grasp all the ideas and all the flow in this intricate story. I will say this though: the hot dog fingers. The hot dog fingers made me laugh every time I heard them jiggling around. It just sounded so wet and just sounded like wet hot dogs. Yeah, I'll probably watch The Batman again once it comes on HBO Max. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the movie, the premise of the movie is just so dope, and like, the performances, the production value. It's like, Jamie Lee Curtis is, I'm a fan of Jamie Lee Curtis, man. She's the good whites. I like Jamie Lee Curtis a lot, and she was good in this movie. It was just good to see a movie this fresh in the movie theaters. It's not a rehash of anything that's already been out. It's not a remake, and it's just something fresh in the sea of just remakes and sequels and franchises. It was just good to see something fresh that got my interest and got my attention. So shout out to that movie.
I will say that the mother-daughter premise is so relatable.
Oh, man.
So relatable. I
was wondering about that for you.
Oh, man. It was so like that one scene where, I was just like, this is, it sucks, but most mothers and daughters have that relationship. Yeah. And and sometimes it's just hard to get through to moms. And so I was just like, I feel like that's another part of the premise that was like people can feel that. Like women can feel that specifically. But even other people, I'm sure there's a lot of, people who aren't women, who also feel that way about their parent. And be like, man, I hate being around my parent.
And I really like that dynamic when they focus on the mother and daughter. I really like that.
Yeah.
That part of it. Especially it was one scene where they were both rocks.
Oh yeah. You were laughing.
I was just like, this is dope. The stuff they were saying to one another, and I was just like, wow, this is so random but dope. Like, the movie reminded me of my Instagram page. Like, my Instagram page is all over the place. Like, my Instagram page is a multiverse of me and other shit that I'm into, shit that I've done, shit that I've said, shit that I feel, shit that I've seen and added to. And, You know, a lot of people be like, man, your Instagram is just all over, and that's how I like it.
As it should be, because you're all over the place. We as humans, I don't understand people. I mean, I praise people who can stick to a niche, who can get into a niche and stay there. Like, shout out to you. But we're not niches. Like, we're not stuck in like one realm. So I don't think our social media should be stuck in a realm. I mean, if it works, it works. But you, especially you, you're so like,
I'm all over.
You're into everything.
Yeah.
And it's dope. It's super dope. You know, there's parts of the movie that also remind me of Scott Pilgrim. Like just the way that it was shot. Like, I was just like, oh yeah, I can see it.
From a filmmaking standpoint, man, it was like, man, this is a ride.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I took it. So, like I said, 3.5 saxophones with the potential for more. I just got to rewatch it and make sure I fully understand everything. So because it's a lot in there to take in. So